It's crazy how one stupid, basic choice can completely tear your entire universe apart in less than an hour. Think about how many times you've said, "I'll just be 5 minutes." You leave the car running, you pop into a gas station, or you run back inside because you forgot your wallet. You don't think twice about it. We do these tiny, mindless things every single day, completely blind to the fact that life is just waiting right around the corner with a baseball bat. Elena was 24, living in a sun-baked suburb outside of Houston, Texas. If you looked at her Instagram, she had it all figured out. Perfect outfits, iced lattes, aesthetics. But underneath the filters, Elena was drowning in that modern, shallow obsession with perfection. She was constantly staring in the mirror, picking herself apart, convinced that if she just fixed one more thing, her nose, her skin, her lips, she'd finally feel happy. She had a 2-year-old son named Mason. Mason was this beautiful, chubby-cheeked kid with giant brown eyes who literally thought his mom was the center of the solar system. Wherever Elena went, Mason was right there, toddling behind her, holding onto her jeans. It was a Tuesday afternoon in July. The Texas heat was brutal, the kind of thick, heavy humidity that hits you like a brick wall the second you step outside. It was 98 degrees in the shade, and the asphalt looked like it was literally melting. Elena had an appointment at 2:30 p.m. at a trendy, low-key beauty clinic in a strip mall. She had been saving up for months to get her lip fillers touched up. She buckles Mason into his car seat in the back of her silver sedan. He's clutching a little plastic toy truck, babbling away, completely oblivious. Elena's blasting the AC on the drive over, humming along to the radio. She pulls into the strip mall parking lot at exactly 2:20 p.m. She looks in the rearview mirror, fixes her hair, and then looks back at Mason. He's starting to drift off to sleep, his head heavy, his long eyelashes brushing his cheeks. Elena checks her phone. The clinic texts her, "We are running 10 minutes early, you can come straight in." She looks at Mason. Then she looks at the blazing sun outside. She thinks to herself, if I wake him up, he's going to scream through the whole appointment. It's just a quick touch-up. 10, maybe 15 minutes maximum. I'll leave the car running, keep the AC blasting, lock the doors from the outside, and he won't even know I was gone. It sounded reasonable in her head. It sounded safe. She shifts the car into park, leaves the engine idling, clicks the AC to max, and steps out into the heavy heat. She hits the lock button on her key fob, hears the car beep, and walks into the clinic. The waiting room is freezing, smelling like lavender and expensive rubbing alcohol. The receptionist smiles. "Elena. Come on back, Dr. Sarah is ready for you." Elena sits in the white leather chair. The numbing cream goes on her lips. It takes about 10 minutes to kick in. She's scrolling through TikTok, completely disconnected from reality, checking out what other people are doing with their lives. At 2:40 p.m., the doctor starts the injections. A little pinch here, a little pinch there. Elena's eyes water, but she smiles through it. She's thinking about the photos she's going to take later. But out in the parking lot, something silent and horrific happens. Elena's sedan is an older model. The engine had been overheating slightly the past week, but she'd been ignoring it because she didn't want to spend the money to fix it. Under the intense, suffocating 100-degree Texas sun, idling in a concrete parking lot with the AC running full blast, the radiator finally gives out. A belt snaps. The engine sputters, chokes, and dies. The AC cuts off instantly. If you've never been inside a sealed car in the summer, you cannot comprehend how fast it transforms into a literal oven. Within 5 minutes, a car parked in 95-degree weather hits 120 degrees inside. Within 15 minutes, the air inside becomes a toxic, breathing fire, reaching nearly 140 degrees. The dashboard becomes hot enough to literally fry an egg. In the back seat, Mason wakes up. He's confused. The cool air is gone. He's sweating through his little cotton t-shirt. He drops his toy truck. He tries to pull at the straps of his car seat, but he's tightly buckled in. He starts to cry, calling out for his mom. Mommy? Mommy? But the windows are rolled all the way up, completely soundproof. Nobody in the busy strip mall hears a thing. The heat starts to crush him. His little body can't regulate temperature the way an adult's can. Children heat up 3 to 5 times faster. His heart starts racing, trying desperately to pump blood to his skin to cool him down, but there's no air moving. It's just a sealed, metal box radiating pure agony. He screams, his face turning bright purple, tears drying up on his cheeks instantly because he's dehydrating so fast. He beats his little hands against the plastic sides of his car seat until he doesn't have the strength to lift his arms anymore. Inside the clinic, Elena is looking in a mirror. The doctor is wiping away a tiny bit of blood. They look amazing, Elena. So full. Elena smiles, completely obsessed with the reflection. She hands over her credit card, signs the receipt, talks to the receptionist for another 2 minutes about a skincare routine, and walks out the door. The whole thing took 25 minutes. She steps out into the parking lot. The heat hits her, and for some reason, a sudden, cold spike of panic shoots straight through her chest. She looks toward her car. The car is completely silent. No exhaust coming out of the tailpipe. The engine isn't humming. Elena starts walking faster, her sandals slapping against the hot pavement. Her heart is suddenly in her throat. She runs the last 10 feet, hits the unlock button, and rips the driver's side door open. A wave of air hits her face that feels like she just opened a commercial pizza oven. It literally burns her nose. She screams and dives into the back seat. Mason is slumped over in his car seat. His skin is scalding hot to the touch, dark red, and completely dry. He isn't crying. He isn't moving. His little eyes are half open, staring blankly at the roof of the car. Elena loses her absolute mind. She shrieks, a raw, animalistic sound that echoes across the entire strip mall. She unbuckles him, pulls his limp, heavy body into her arms, and stumbles out onto the asphalt. Help! Somebody please help me. My baby. He's not breathing. People come running out of the nail salon, the grocery store, the beauty clinic. A man rushes over and starts doing CPR on Mason right there on the blistering hot pavement. Elena is on her knees, her hands covered in dirt, screaming at the sky, her freshly injected lips swelling up and bleeding as she bites down on them in pure horror. The sirens are wailing in the distance, cutting through the afternoon traffic. The paramedics arrive, they push through the crowd, they hook up machines to Mason's tiny chest. They work on him for 20 minutes right there in the parking lot. Elena is being held back by a police officer, begging, screaming, vomiting onto the concrete. But you can't reverse what that kind of heat does to a child's brain and organs. Mason was gone before Elena even paid for her appointment. A few hours later, the parking lot is empty except for the yellow police tape fluttering in the hot breeze. Elena is sitting in a dim, sterile interrogation room at the police station. She's still wearing her linen dress, but it's stained with tears and sweat. Her face is completely pale, except for her lips, which are grotesquely swollen, bright red, and bruised from the fresh filler. The detective sits across from her, his face completely numb. He's seen this story too many times. He doesn't look at her with anger, he looks at her with a heavy, exhausting kind of pity. Elena, he says softly, his voice echoing in the small room. You're being charged with involuntary manslaughter and child endangerment. Elena doesn't even flinch. She doesn't care about the prison sentence. She doesn't care about the handcuffs. She looks at her reflection in the two-way mirror on the wall. She looks at her face, the face she destroyed her entire life to change. The face she thought needed to be prettier, plumper, more perfect. She realizes that every single time she looks in a mirror for the rest of her life, she won't see her lips. She will see the face of the mother who traded her son's life for a beauty appointment. The sheer, brutal weight of reality is that we live in a world that brainwashes us into chasing these completely meaningless, fake standards of perfection. We get so caught up in the digital noise, the vanity, the next trend, that we completely lose sight of the fragile, priceless things right in front of us. Elena wanted to look perfect for a screen, and because of that, a little boy who loved her more than life itself drew his last, agonizing breath in the dark backseat of a boiling car. There are no rewinds. There are no do-overs. Some mistakes don't just leave a scar, they completely burn your entire world to ashes, leaving you standing in the wreckage, wishing you could give up your own life just to go back and change 20 minutes of a random Tuesday afternoon.